Ian, how are you? Welcome to HubShots episode 45.
Hey Craig, how are you today?
I'm very well. Notice how I skipped over the intro there?
Yes, how about the intro?
Do you want to do the intro? I don't reckon people like the intro where we say who we are and all that kind of stuff, who we're for.
Well, I'd love to find out whether people actually care about it or not.
Okay, so you can do the intro.
Hey, so welcome to HubShots, the podcast of marketing managers who use HubSpot. I'm Ian Jacob from Search and Be Found, and with me is my co-host, Craig Bailey from Zen Systems. How are you, Craig?
Really good. And we're recording this on the 1st of August. It's a new month, Monday night.
It is. And guess what, Craig? It is only 98 days to inbound 16. That's right. So if you want to see that, you can go to inboundcountdown.com and you can see how many days to inbound.
Yeah. Now, speaking of inbound, there's been a new speaker announced.
Yes.
This week.
Another lady.
Good to see her.
Fantastic.
Reshma Sajani.
Yes.
And so she's an author, and she's also the founder of Girls Who Code.
Which is pretty cool.
It's really good. I've been checking that out today and just some of the programs they run. The whole goal of getting more women into coding. And they have two main programs, kind of the 6 to 12 years in school and then also the senior schools where they have programs. I think it's excellent. Really good. So, yeah, check that out.
Excellent.
Looking forward to what she has to say.
So she's a keynote speaker.
She is, yes.
And you pointedly noted out that Dharmesh and Brian got bumped from the speaker
That's right, to make way for her. So good on them for that.
Okay, HubSpot feature and tip of the week, Craig.
Now, I loved how you pointed this out. And the word endeavouring came up, which we'll explain in a second.
Yes,
but basically what you've listed out is some of the new features coming.
That are either in design or actually in beta currently.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about the first one, which is in development currently. It's the merge companies like you do with contacts. And that's a great feature because you often have duplicates. Having the ability to merge them is really important.
I think this is really useful. It's much more complex to do that with companies than with contacts because I guess when you merge the companies, that's got to do the contacts as well and all of that kind of stuff. What do you do if you've got two contacts that are the same person in two companies?
Yes.
And, it's not a simple problem to solve, yeah.
But it's in development, so they've definitely moved ahead with it. The second one is to create the ability to have parent accounts and sub-accounts. And this is in design, so they're just obviously scoping it out, designing it. And that's also important if you want to granularize the level of access people have to the system and to different parts of the marketing or sales part of HubSpot.
Well, I thought this was also to do with the CRM accounts. So you can actually have a parent company and then sub-accounts. And to me, this is actually one of the key differences that you find between HubSpot CRM and, say, Salesforce, for example. It's one of those key functional pieces where people do want to have sub-accounts for their companies because you might have different owners for sub-accounts in a company. This, again, is one of those things that's actually going to take HubSpot from the CRM where it is now to really be on the enterprise level.
Yeah. And the third thing is the pin a note to the top of the contact or company timeline. And this is in design as well. So this, you'll probably see this on a page that you might manage. You can actually pin a post so it sticks there. And so this is a similar feature they want to bring into the HubSpot's marketing and sales side. And that's in design. Yeah,
that'll be handy. And I also saw a comment on that one where someone was saying we're also going to make it easier to search a timeline for a specific note. I think that's useful. If you've got tons of content and that against the contact, really useful. All right, really good. Well.
This comes on to the challenge of the week, Craig.
Challenge of the week. So this is actually going to feed into opinion of the week as well.
I've got
a blog post coming out about this. But I think it's interesting when customers talk about how expensive HubSpot is and other tools as well to keep contacts in the database. And this came around because customers, if they're doing well, getting lots of leads in the database, they'll have quite a sizable database. And then the cost, because HubSpot and many other tools is on a per contact basis, right? So if you've got thousands of contacts, it can get expensive.
Yes.
And I have customers saying, how can we get the price down? And I think that's interesting because I think if you're focusing on getting the cost of that retention piece down, you're focusing on the wrong problem.
That's exactly right.
And so what I've done here is I've just kind of done a bit of analysis of the different tools out there and the various costs.
And this, I guess, would be a bit one-dimensional in terms of if we're looking at the cost per contact. A lot of the ones you've compared against, like MailChimp and so on, is essentially email marketing. It's quite it has some automation if you pay for it. Same with active campaigns. So we're not really measuring par on par.
Well, we're not. Right. That's right. And so, but the reason I included them, and so just to explain, I've said, how much does it cost per contact in MailChimp? Okay. And you do the numbers. It's actually about 0.75 of a cent per contact, or it's about
75 cents?
No, 0.75 of a cent.
0.75 of a cent.
It's about 9 cents per year to have a contact in MailChimp. Okay. That's just the cost. I did this based on, say, having 10,000 contacts.
Yes.
So let's say you've got 10,000 contacts in your database. So then I looked at Active Campaign, which we also use in our agency, excellent tool. And that works out at per contact. This is on their enterprise tool, so the big end of Active Campaign, they've got various tiers. Works out about 42 cents per year per contact, right? And then I've looked at HubSpot. I thought, well, right at the top end, because HubSpot's not a cheap tool. It's an expensive tool, right? I thought, okay, professional edition, 10,000 contacts, no discounts or anything. Work out the pricing, and it's actually about 16.6 cents per contact per month, or $2 per year. Actually, and that's in AUD. The others were in USD.
In US dollars, yeah.
So even at the top end, HubSpot tool, expensive tool, $2 per year per contact. That's what it costs, what I'm going to call the cost of nurture or the cost of retention to get them. So then you go to your customer, right, or as an agency who are talking, and you say to them, right, how much are you prepared to pay cost per acquisition?
Yes.
And in B2B, where we are, it's often $100 per lead is a good price.
Yes.
And if you were to get them leads for $20 per lead, cost of acquisition through advertising, and it was $20 per lead, that is fantastic.
We'll be jumping on it.
Right? So then I kind of say, well, you're happy to pay $20 per lead to get the lead, and then a tenth of that, $2 to keep them for a year. That's where the relativities are. The problem is not that it costs $2 per year to keep them. The real cost you should be looking at is the cost per acquisition. And I think that's really good for people to understand, and for marketing managers that are listening to the show to think about when you're looking at reducing costs, let's look at things like A, can we reduce our cost per acquisition? B, what's the lead quality like? Because if we're spending a lot to get poor quality leads, we can save them, things like that. And also, just what's your conversion rate? If you're actually getting them into your database and retaining them, actually, are you converting them into customers?
Yes.
Because maybe that's your problem. Are you actually nurturing them into customers? So focus on that. It's like, how we say, solve for the problem. So I just think that's a really interesting kind of, we call it challenge of the week and kind of opinion of the week, because that's often where people focus their attention on this retention cost, but actually that's not the problem.
Yeah, so I think that's a really key thing. You've got to shift your focus from the cost to finding that solution, or finding what the other aspects that will actually drive that down, not the actual retention of the lead in the database.
Yeah, that's right.
But that also begs the thing is that making sure your database is clean, we've talked about this quite a few times, is actually having workflows in place to actually, get the people who haven't opened an email, haven't clicked on anything, they haven't shown any interest in the last 6 months, and keep them off in a separate list that you can actually look at and then delete.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So you shouldn't be keeping cold leads or bad leads, definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, our tip of the week, Craig.
All right, so this is from our friend John Loomer. I think we feature him every second episode.
You know John what? Loomer. Because Facebook is where it's at. That's why.
So John Loomer, if you haven't heard of him, he's a bit of a Facebook guru, and he's got a great blog, tons of useful information.
Yes.
We've got a link to him here because there's a new custom web audience coming out where you can actually build an audience
based on
the time they spend on your website. How powerful is that?
That is pretty amazing, really. And we had a look in our accounts. We haven't seen it as yet.
We haven't got it yet, so I can't wait
Facebook,
to get that
if you're listening, we'd like that in our accounts.
I think they're rolling it out. But you can just see the power of that kind of thing to just target people that spend 3 minutes on your site.
Yep.
That's gold. And no other platform can compete with that. And is it any wonder that a lot of the money is shifting from AdWords to Facebook? Yeah, and we saw the Facebook results recently. Their profits going through the roof.
Yes.
This is the kind of targeting that you can do.
All right, state of inbound, item of the week, Craig.
Now, do you want to explain? There's been a disturbance in the inbound force.
There has been. Our good friend George B. Thomas had a bit of a health scare, should we say.
Yeah.
And I was a bit surprised. Like I saw a picture of him in hospital with flowers, and I was actually really surprised. And you know what? Thank you, George, for doing a Facebook Live and explaining what happened. And I think it's really highlights to us the importance is about obviously what we do, but also you got to look after yourself. You got to look after your family. You got to do all of these things because you got to be around to actually enjoy all of this stuff.
Yeah, and so we've actually mentioned George twice in this episode. His episode is in our inbound item of the week because he is so, I guess, associated with inbound. And for people
HubSpot.
And HubSpot. And for people who don't know, I mean, George B. He's a bit of a personal hero of mine, but he's a co-host on the Hubcast with Marcus Sheridan. So that's a podcast that we often mention, and they've, a bit of an inspiration to us as podcasters. And so, when you sent me that, because you sent me that link
I did. I shared that with you on
George, you said, George is in hospital. I was like, what's going on?
That's right.
So, and so glad to see that he's...
You're out of it.
Out of hospital now. But then I guess our motivation of the week, as you mentioned, the Facebook Live that he did. And
yeah, that was great. Thank you, George. And I think that's a great way to explain it. It was a heartfelt, here's where I'm at, here's what I didn't do right, here's what's happening next. And, he said he's on that journey. We're all on that journey. We don't know what we're doing often. And we just all got to do the journey together. And I think having good friends to do the journey with makes a massive difference.
Yeah. So thanks, George.
And remember the priorities in your life.
Priorities in your life. I'd recommend that. We actually looked, and his Facebook Live chat is publicly available. Worth having a listen to that or watch of that. Just to
spend the 9 minutes to watch it. Now, Resource of the Week, Craig.
Yes,
it's on Medium.
On Medium,
another fellow Aussie.
Is he an Aussie?
Yes, he is.
I did not know that.
He does not live far from here.
No way. Okay, so this is Jeff Bullis, and he's got an article on 15 content marketing trends that you need to pay close attention to. Now, if you've been in the whole inbound marketing, content marketing space for years, none of this will really be a revelation. But where I think the value of this is if you're a marketing manager and you're constantly getting pulled between things, you're doing event here and print marketing there and all these kinds of things, and you want one post that can quickly pull together a few key topics and trends about content marketing, then this is the one for you. Okay, and so he just goes through some of the main topics around storytelling, for example. And
mobile?
He mentions mobile. That was the interesting. I thought if you don't know that mobile's important, then yes, you definitely need to read this.
Look, a key stat is 70% of search starts on a mobile device. Mm-hmm. And I think when you understand that, if you think mobile first, that's the key. Like everything you do, from design to your landing pages to the way your offers look, just think about it. Like, what is the experience? Like, I was showing you a website while we were having a bite to eat.
Yeah.
And you saw this massive big pop in your face. And then just to get rid of it was hard. And then the website had kind of scrolled across. Like, you just went, wow, what a bad experience.
Crazy.
And that's what people are doing every day. So you've got to really test and see what you're doing and think about where people are coming from. That's why in HubSpot, it's really interesting, like how you can segment your people from where they land. If they're coming off social, if they're coming off mobile, etc., you can actually change the forms, change the content.
Yes.
Because
excellent.
You're creating a better user experience.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Just going back to that experience we had, I thought it was interesting because you showed it to me on mobile.
Yeah, that's right.
It was a responsive site.
Correct.
So they'd put the effort in to make it all mobile friendly and responsive.
Yes.
But then the pop-up was this huge thing that wasn't responsive at all.
Yes.
Took it over. You had to scroll over to try and... And it was just like they got 80%
It was
there,
annoying.
And then they just the big fail at the end. And so actually, even though we were kind of joking about mobile, who doesn't know about mobile? Well, actually, it's more to it than just getting your site mobile. It's making sure all the other elements are mobile responsive. So totally excellent point.
All right. And now to our community item of the week, Craig. And this is a great... little tip, which I haven't been using, but I think I'm going to start using it now. Yeah. It's to do with using Slack to direct message yourself. So if you're ever stuck and you're on your phone and you're going, oh, how do I send this to myself? I need to remind myself of this message or this particular piece of content I'm reading. If you've got the Slack app on your phone, all you do is direct message yourself and appear in your stream, which then you can search.
It's so handy. It's such, yeah.
It's
because
I'm going to call it the listener tip of the week as well from you.
Well, the thing about it, and just to explain to people who might be going, so what, DM myself in Slack, what's going on here?
That's why I said direct message.
Or direct message, right? It's kind of like, okay, I'll tell you the problem that it solves.
Yes.
And this is typically, I'm on my mobile.
Yep.
I find something, a link. Oh, I'll send that to myself. So what do? You email it to yourself.
Yes.
And then you got to go into email and find it. So that's the problem, or that's the issue that it solves. It's just straight into DM or direct message. Just, I didn't realize you could direct message yourself. Slack. No wonder everyone's using it. All the cool kids are on Slack.
All right, Craig, podcast of the week.
Oh, so it's a new one you put me on to.
Yeah, so I just found out about it yesterday, day before, and it's called Marketing School by Neil Patel and Eric Siu. And I actually listened to all three, so they're about 10 minutes long. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed it. They had a podcast about tools. They had about things they'd learned in marketing, so things that had worked really well. And there's lots of great resources in there, really good chunks of. So I'd recommend you actually listening to it. It's a great resource to quickly get a quick shot of marketing into your blood.
Excellent. Well, I've added that. So I haven't listened to them yet. You just told me about these today, but I've added them to my podcast listening list. So I'm looking forward to that. Neil Patel, of course, he's been in the whole online marketing space for years. Very well respected, a bit of a thought leader.
Yes.
And the thing I love about Neil is he tests so many things.
Yes.
And the reason I know that he tests so much stuff because he has Kissmetrics, which is an analytics tool that I think he developed. I think he was still involved. I'm not sure if he's still involved or he might have sold it, but basically a tool for A/B testing and checking analytics for your site. So he's all into the testing, as we say, test and measure. We love it. So.
Yeah, look, he's got another product called Crazy Egg.
Crazy Egg.
Which
sorry.
we used, yeah.
Yes, I'm getting.
Sorry, you got it mixed up. So it is Crazy Egg.
Yes.
So he's definitely into testing and measuring and seeing what's going on. I think he also has Hello Bar, from what I understood.
Oh, is that him as well?
Right. Yeah, I think they purchased it or they made it.
Right.
It's free to use, so it's another really good thing you can use for lead capture.
Excellent.
Listen to that. All right, and finally, Craig, app of the week.
Another one you've put me on to.
Yeah, so Sketch I started using on my desktop to annotate. So take a picture of something, you can write over it, you can put arrows on it, you can block out information, and you can send that to somebody. So it's very good for conveying information in an image. There is also an app on your phone, which is now recording Facebook Live. But you can do the same thing on your phone. So if you're out somewhere, so for example, what I've done before was when I was redecorating our lounge room, I was able to take a shot of the space, and then I basically was able to draw the line and put the measurements in. So when I was talking to someone and said, oh, look, I need this to fit in this space, they could see it, but also see the numbers that went with it, which is really handy.
Nice. Okay, I'm going to check that one out as well. I love getting all these tips from you, Ian. That's great.
And Craig, and to our listeners on Facebook Live, we're at the end.
Right. So what's if people want to join us? What app should they?
WhatsApp.
So we've got a WhatsApp group. And do you want to explain what WhatsApp is in terms of a group? How we're using it?
Yeah, so we use it to communicate to the people that listen to the podcast. We communicate new things that are coming out. We give the opportunity for people to ask questions, give us feedback about episodes, share any new tools you might have. So I'll share about these tools on the chat following this broadcast. What else do we do? We're going to use that group actually for inbound. So to grab everyone together, to organize events, just so people don't feel alone. And we're traveling all the way from here, from the other side of the globe, right across to Boston. And so we just want people to not feel alone and to have a really great experience at inbound, but also a great experience through the year, like learn stuff and have the ability to talk to us and to talk to other people in the community to help them solve their problems that they're facing in their businesses as marketing managers, as business owners, as people in sales. That's what we're using it for.
Yeah, can I just add one or expand on one thing that you said there, just about, because we haven't mentioned it for a few episodes now, just about inbound and how we're actually trying to get a bit of a HubShots meetup, also with Moby from the Inbound Buzz podcast. And what you mentioned there is, if you're flying all the way over to the other side of the globe and you're kind of on your own or you don't know many people, it can actually be quite daunting.
Yes.
Inbound can be lonely if you don't know anyone, and that's the problem we want to solve if you're coming from Asia Pac. So join our HubShots WhatsApp group and we'll keep you all informed. We'll have meetups on the first night, so you won't be alone. It'll be a lot of fun.
And we're going to record a podcast while we're there, Craig?
I think we should, yes.
I think we should.
Yes. Okay, well, that'll be great. So, join our WhatsApp group, and the way to do that is just to go to hubshots.com/WhatsApp, and we'll have a link in the show notes as well.
Excellent. Craig, it's been a lovely episode 45.
I've enjoyed it, and I will see you next week.
See ya.
Hey there, thanks for listening to this episode of HubShots. For show notes and the latest HubSpot news and tips, please visit us at hubshots.com.